And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? We don't need any more of these.
Hello and welcome to another NSF live stream. We are NASASpaceflight.com, an independent news media organization of really dedicated nerds who like to point cameras at rockets. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. I'll be your host for today's stream. I see the 5x5s in chat, so I know I'm coming through loud and clear, which is excellent. Also, it won't just be me on today's stream. Joining me in the studio, we have Ryan Caton. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Hello everybody, isn't it some wonderful, wonderful clear blue? Never mind, it's a bit hazy, it's a bit cloudy. Weather is 50-50. Literally the weather forecast is 50-50. So whether we'll get a launch or not, we'll just have to wait and see. But fingers crossed for some nicer conditions as we approach the start of the window.
Yeah, stand by. I'll start flipping some coins, rolling some dice. I don't know. 50-50. That's all I got. Thank you, Ryan. Also joining us in the field, operating the cameras today, we have the one and only D Wise. D, are you there?
I sure am. How do you hear me?
Loud and clear, good buddy.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
wow.
is slightly iffy weather-wise today. We are keeping obviously a close eye on everything. We have everything bagged up out here. We are ready in case the thunderstorms in the area that we've been hearing for several hours get any closer.
Right. Well, I was about to ask about the bags. You answered the question. We have this cool like BTS view of you, which is neat. You can see like the camera setups, the point-to-point setup. Really cool. Thanks for getting that set up as well.
Of course.
Also, operating today's stream is none other than Jay Keegan, so thank you to Jay for operating today's stream as well. And with the housekeeping complete, I will remind you all out in chatland that if you have any questions, you can @ NASA Spaceflight in chat and ask your questions away, and we will answer them as we go through and wait for Falcon 9 to be lifting off. Again, this is going to be a ComSat mission, O3b mPOWER 9 and 10. It's two satellites co-manifested. The booster is 1090-6, and it's going to be landing downrange on JRTI. But yeah, let's jump right into questions. Ryan, Severin's asking, will this mission have a stubby nozzle on the second stage?
I am, it is an honor and a privilege to declare it is our prediction this launch will not have a stubby nozzle. That is, of course, a great announcement. We can rejoice in that announcement that we do not believe, because of the mission, the destination and the mass of the payload, we do not believe SpaceX has installed the stubby version of the MVAC on the upper stage. I mean, that's just, that's joy to literally everybody's ears, that information.
Indeed. Everybody on the planet, nobody likes the stubby nozzle. We're all universally in agreement it's the one thing humanity has come together on.
Yeah,
Did y'all wait till I said I
everybody
was working on
agrees.
cameras and couldn't talk to start with the stubby nozzle hate here?
that might have been part of my calculus when deciding what was the first question from the viewers to take. Perhaps, mayhaps. Hi. We do have a poll in chat as well.
Stubby nozzle, good.
Pertaining to the stubby nozzle. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to argue with you. Let's see, more questions. Here's a general question from Saad. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. Forgive me if I'm not. They say, do you think a booster will be able to complete its 35th, wow, I can talk, flight before the end of this year? Ryan, what do you think? 35 flights on a booster before the end of the year?
I have to say, like, I'm not going to say no, but I am going to say seems really quite tight. 30 maybe would be the first kind of achievement to reach, because considering boosters, what's the highest flight booster now? It's 29 now, so 30's coming up soon. 35 for B1067.
That's pretty ambitious.
Yes, I'm going to hesitate, and I'm going to say I don't think so this year. Next year, definitely, assuming they don't want to throw B1067 away or lose it unintentionally. But assuming everything goes well and they actually keep flying 1067, and if that even is the fleet leader in however many months' time, then next year, definitely. This year, I think that's a bit ambitious.
Ambitious isn't bad, though.
No, but I mean, B1067, looking at the manifest here, B1067 has flown 6 times so far this year. So that's, on average, just over once per month. So that would be 6 more flights in 5 months. So that would be a big increase in cadence for that specific booster.
Yeah, that's fair. And here we can see some stats for today's missions booster, which is 1090-6. Again, it's the how are we saying this, Ryan? O3b mPOWER? OB? Is there a?
I believe, I'm not sure whether this is the correct pronunciation, from SES or the satellite or operator, or whether this is just how everyone else has been calling it for so long now. But to my knowledge, it's O3b mPOWER, or at least that's how everyone else has been saying it. So if it's wrong, don't blame me.
Oh, that's it. I'm blaming you. But yeah, you can see this booster has launched 62 satellites. Again, there's 2 satellites on today's mission. So after today's flight, it'll be 64. Landing downrange on just read the instructions. And for fairing recovery, we've got Bob. Let's keep it rolling. Severin's asking, why is Launch Complex 39A used so rarely these days compared to Slick 40? I think the 3 most active launch pads in the world in order are Slick 40, Slick 4 East, and LC39A, in that order. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but it's no slouch. But it definitely doesn't see as many launches as 40. Is there? I don't know. What do you think the reason for that is, Ryan? Is it crew stuff? Is it Falcon Heavy stuff? Is it a combination of a lot of things?
Well, this year it hasn't really been Falcon Heavy stuff, because Falcon Heavy hasn't really done anything. But in terms of the 39A specific missions that SpaceX has, the crew missions really, they kind of take priority, and they kind of quote-unquote reserve the pad, so to speak. So, for example, Axiom 4, which launched a few weeks ago, they had a few delays based on vehicle problems and, as we know, the leaks on the International Space Station. So Axiom 4, that pad was reserved for that mission, and then that mission kept delaying and delaying and delaying. They can't just, put a Starlink in there. So that's one of the reasons that the cadence on 39A slows down. But again, it's the 40 has been kind of designed and implemented in a way where they can just throw Starlink missions off every 48 hours or so. Over the 39A, you have these different modifications and conversions you have to do to move it between Falcon 9 Payload, Falcon 9 Crew, Falcon Heavy. They also have some Starship pad work they're getting on with at the moment. Not saying that will delay any missions, but there's also something else to consider. So there's a variety of factors that can go into why one pad is much more has a much higher cadence than the other.
I didn't realize we had Alex on stream. That was a fantastic answer, Ryan. Speaking of fantastic, and also speaking of an Alex Pardue in chat with a $200 super chat. That is outstanding. I don't even know what to say about that other than thank you so much, Alex. That is truly exceptional. They say, I love watching rockets launch at Cape Canaveral, and I love watching you all. I'm free for a side job. I'll love to help you out. Hit up business at nasaspaceflight.com and include like a resume. Tell us what you can do. That's always a good bet. But holy cow, Alex! Thank you so much. That's outstanding. We cannot do what we do without the support of everybody watching, whether it's the members, the super chatters, or even doesn't have to be a monetary thing, just people hitting the like button, telling your friends how to keep up with rocket launches in this new space age that we live in. So thank you, Alex. What do you say to that? That's so much money. Thank you so much. We'll keep the show rolling here as you request. John, thank you for gifting a red team, and Eleanor, thank you as well for the super chat. Wow, I'm flummoxed. Thank you again, Alex. Let's go to do a little callback at the top of the show. Misty wants to know, what's the point of the stubby nozzle? D, what is the point of the stubby nozzle aside from looking awful?
Well, looks aside, let's talk about its pure utility here, which SpaceX recovers the first stages of Falcon 9s with the vast majority of missions. So they have the nozzles be as efficient as possible, like thrust-wise, but if they're using a bit more material, that's not too big a deal. But with the second stage, they're disposing them with every single stage. So they want to minimize the amount of niobium, I believe, used in the nozzle there. So on a lot of missions, they still do like the standard nozzle that we're used to, the non-stubby nozzle. But on some missions, they have extra performance they can work with. So they can save a bunch of material and just lose a couple % in efficiency on that engine. And it makes more sense both manufacturing time-wise and actual material usage-wise.
Yeah, as much as I hate to admit it, it does make sense. It's like just a clean-cut example of function over form.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I was the hugest fan of stubby nozzle at first. However, you gotta appreciate that it is one of the many things that SpaceX does to try to get their efficiency and their cadence as high as they can.
It's a very weird way to just say that you were brainwashed by Max.
I wasn't going to say it. I mean, spending too much time around Max. Let's see. While we still have you, D, Severin's asking, what's the primary weather concern today? We said at the top of the show it's 50-50. What's going on?
Yeah, so they're looking at a couple different things today. So the 45th Weather Squadron, of course, puts out these launch weather forecasts where they look at all the concerns. And so one of the main ones here today is the anvil clouds rule. And in addition, there were a couple others, such as the cumulus clouds rule and the electric fields rule, which, speaking of electric fields, we can hear lightning in the distance. We are, of course, staying well aware of that. And if the center were to issue a phase 2 warning, of course, we would get inside, get out of the elements. But they want to avoid any risk of vehicles being struck by lightning, essentially. And there have been lots of clouds in the area. I'm looking around and I'm hearing the thunder behind me as well. But it's 50-50. But also that forecast was issued yesterday, so we'll have to see. They have threaded the needle on far worse predictions many times.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just thinking, this feels a lot like some needle threading going on here. So hopefully we see some sewing happen. I don't. It's the best I got. Holy cow, Dimez Recon. Thank you so much. $100 super chat. What the heck? Thank you, guys. They say, finally made it out for a launch at KSC, rocking the old roadside rocket science shirt. Thank you all for doing what you do. That's awesome. That's so cool. Thank you so much, Dimez. That's extremely generous of you. Also, that you're wearing a vintage NSF shirt. I met a guy today out at Starbase who was wearing a Wen Hop shirt. Like, you gotta love the vintage, the vintage NSF merch. Thank you so much. That's so incredibly generous of you. And I cannot reiterate enough. Everybody that is doing the support is awesome, but you're still awesome even if you can't support us monetarily. It doesn't have to be a monetary thing. Just hit the stupid like button and subscribe. Like, you know how YouTube works. Tell YouTube you like us. That's awesome too. Thank you everybody for allowing us to point cameras at rockets for a living. It's pretty darn cool. Here's a question, Ryan, about the drone ship. James Atkinson, in parentheses, rhubarb? Is that how you spell rhubarb? I thought there was an H in there. Anyway, they're asking how far downrange is the landing vessel for this flight? That's going to be just read the instructions, right?
Correct. So the drone ship for this mission, just read the instructions. I do not have it off the top of my head, but I'm looking through my notes very quickly to see if I do have it in there. You can see the hazard zone on your screen there. I'm looking. It's a weird trajectory. It's like it's due east. Yeah, it's a straight east trajectory because we're going to the medium Earth orbit. That's what it's called for the payloads today. Alex telling me it's 600 to 700 kilometers. So thanks, Alex, for saving me. Alex, I'm looking through the notes here. Unless I'm blind, I can't see it. So thank you very much for saving me.
Excellent. Yeah, just the usual distance, but east instead of, north or south of the pad. It's not in the Caribbean. It's not up the coast a little bit. It's just straight east, which is interesting. I mean, we joke a lot with the late night Starlink launches, like, oh, not your ordinary Starlink. But it is it's almost weird to be looking at a Falcon 9 during the day, not launching Starlink satellites and going straight east. It's going to be a little bit of a different launch.
And to further clarify on my earlier answer, apparently the federal communication permits no longer have the specific drone ship coordinates, which is why we don't actually know exactly where it is. But it's 600 to 700 kilometers because it's a Falcon 9, so if it can't really go much further than that.
Sure enough. Let's see. Tommy Time wants to know, do the fairings land close together? I don't actually know if they purposefully offset a ways or if they land intentionally as close as possible together. Have you ever? That's one of those things we've seldom even seen footage of, right?
I don't think we've ever actually seen official footage of a fairing being recovered ever since they retired the big fishing net or fairing net boats. Right. With the massive net that was extended up into the air that worked once or twice, and then SpaceX realized they can just fish them out of the ocean, and the salt corrosion doesn't actually matter. SpaceX literally fishes the fairings out of the ocean with a huge crane on the back of one of their support ships. I don't think we've actually seen this officially that often, at least not for a little whiles now. So I'm not sure if they land close together, but I would imagine they're probably going to be a little ways apart, just because of the fact, the fairings deploy, opposite each other in flight, right. And even that short push, once you travel 100 odd kilometers back down to the ground, that's gonna that push is going to be exacerbated somewhat when you get down. But again, they also have those parafoils which they use to glide down to the ocean surface. So I don't actually have an answer for you on that one, but I would assume they're positioned a little ways apart.
Yeah, there's a shot from an old 2023 SpaceX tweet of a fairing getting yoinked out of the ocean there. I also, just thinking it through as you were talking, Ryan, I have to imagine that the parafoils and the rigging and everything from each fairing half in the water is, something a boat captain has to be aware of. You don't want to get fouled up in the lines and whatnot. So if you had two fairings that were really close together and also their parafoils and all the rigging and everything, you might want them separated just so it was a little bit easier to fish them out and not get mired up in all the nonsense. I don't know. That's a really good question. Let's see. More questions. James is asking, outside of any Starship flights, what is the next flight that each of you are most excited for? Artemis 2. Ryan?
This is a difficult question because you said the next flight, and I don't know when things are going to happen.
Fair.
Artemis 2 is obviously up there. I have to agree with that one. That's going to be a pretty awesome launch. Fingers crossed within the next 6 months or so, or thereabouts. In terms of other than Artemis 2, things that might perhaps potentially maybe launch before Artemis 2. Maybe a launch from the UK would be nice, but I don't want to jinx it because, we've been saying Q3 for 2025 and 2024 and 2023 and 2022 and 2021, probably 2020 at some point as well. So, I don't want to jinx it, but something would be nice. Rocket Factory Augsburg, just saying.
D?
Artemis 2 is the easy one to say that, I mean, how can you not be looking forward to that? That's going to be an incredible mission. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see SLS fly again. I'm also really looking forward to seeing New Glenn fly again. That is an incredible rocket, and I really hope that we can see a landing,
Yeah, I hope it's a day launch, selfishly. I really hope it's a day launch.
I like it when rockets debut during the day, for sure. But there was something about New Glenn, despite the, I would say the very cold time that we had, it was like a flashlight. And that might be one of the coolest looking night launches yet. So I want to see it fly in the day next. But after that, I'd be okay with a couple nighttime launches, a couple dusk and dawn launches for sure.
Yeah, that flashlight effect was absolutely nuts, that's for sure. Good question from James. All right, we are at T-minus 36 minutes or so. D, where are we at in the timeline?
So I think we actually just had let me double check this, but we might have just had a slight slip in the T0 here. Yeah, so SpaceX is now targeting at 5:22 p.m. for that launch. So like about a 10-minute delay. So we'll get those adjusted. But once we get to that point, at the T-minus 38-minute mark, that's when the launch director would verify go for propellant load. And then at the 35-minute mark, that's when the propellant load actually begins, where they're loading RP1 into the first and second stage and liquid oxygen into the first stage. So maybe around the 32, 33-minute mark, once they've loaded a little bit of that liquid oxygen, we might be able to see the frost start to form on this vehicle. Now, this is the 6th flight for this Falcon 9. So it has the soot to make it easier to see. When we have the new Falcon 9s, it's a bit hard to see when that fueling starts. Of course, also at the T-minus 20-second mark, we'll see the vent as they prepare to load liquid oxygen into the second stage. And then once we get within a minute or two, those events happen in rapid succession prior to liftoff.
Excellent. Yeah, 10-minute slip. No big deal. Everything's fine. Perhaps we should mention that the window for today goes until 7:12 p.m. local. So yeah, things get tricky once fueling is started, but we're not quite there yet. So, do you think? You know what? Never mind. Let's do more questions.
Now I'm tempted. I want to know what that question was going to be. I'm not going to jinx it.
Something threading the needle. Something repeated 10-minute delays potentially. We'll see what happens.
Well, this is what we would expect to see somewhat if they're trying to thread the needle. They're trying to find the perfect time. They're not going to move everything an hour when they only need a tiny gap in the weather to know that it's good. So if they're like, well, it doesn't look great for our current target T0, but 10 minutes later, maybe it'll clear. We might get more delays. I'm not going to say we will one way or another, but we're just going to have to keep an eye on it and hope that they thread the needle here. And if that means a couple 10-minute delays, so be it.
Well, there you go. Let's see. More questions. Bruce is asking, what's the best comms exchange in spaceflight history? Is it we copy you on the ground, we got a bunch of guys about to turn blue, we're breathing again, thanks a lot? That would be the response to Eagle has landed, right? The moon landing? Best comms exchange in spaceflight history. That's tough. I mean, I guess we could just go with like our favorites, because it's hard to argue something is a best or not best. I certainly am partial to yikes, you bet, concur, we don't need any more of these. And I'm also partial to it's orange. That's why they're both in the intro. Ryan, do you have any favorite spaceflight comms exchange moments?
I quite enjoyed the call from Dom Pettit when the first Dragon was birthed to the ISS, and he said that they've caught a dragon by the tail. I thought that was quite good. I've just in the corner of my eye, I've seen another particular line from DYs. I'm wondering if they would like to share their contribution with the rest of the class.
I don't know if that was meant to be shared with the class so much, but there was a pretty funny moment recently where we had something along the lines of, as my son would say, that was pretty Sigma shortly after a launch. And I pointed that out in the back channel.
That was Nick Haig with Crew 9.
Oh, Shrew 9. Nothing? Really? Both of you? You're going to give me nothing,
nothing
on that?
I'm giving you absolutely nothing at all. You are getting no, what's the word? Satisfaction for that one.
Thanks.
Oh, I actually want to read a really good line Carson just recommended in the back channel.
No, we don't need to do that. Let's do some more support. Drew Nar. Go ahead.
There was a pretty iconic bit of commentary just last month from one Jack Beyer of Ship 36 just exploded. Ship 36 just exploded. It just blew up. It just blew up.
Did I say it just blew up twice?
I don't remember. It was very iconic.
That's one word for it. It's like, yeah, no kidding, it just blew up, dude. Literally everybody can see that it just blew up. Like, what was the function of that? Drew Nar, thank you for the support. They say, when fairing fishing shirt, little guy in a long chair with a rod and a massive fairing in the distance. That's a pretty cool idea. John, Mr. Coffee, J&J Coffee Shop, thanks, buddy, for the super chat. And down with SRT and GRT, thank you for the support. They say, any rumors of getting a Michelson-Morley type experiments being performed in LEO and or interplanetary space? I am not familiar with that type of experiment. I will have to do some Googling and get back to you. Well, we're about, 2 minutes away from fueling start, hopefully, unless we get another new T0 again. We'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, so the launch director will either verify go for propellant load or go for updating the window, the website rather, in 10 minutes' time to say that the window has changed.
All right, good deal.
And interestingly, with the updates from 5:12 to 5:22 local time, for some reason, SpaceX now says that the window closes at 1919 local time rather than 1912, which is what it was before. So whether that's a typo or the window has magically extended by 5 minutes, I don't know, but there's just something interesting nonetheless. I'm not 100% sure how they could have extended that, but apparently it has.
Interesting. Huh. Go figure. All right. Well, the clock is continuing to tick down. And I do want to say hello to all of our viewers over on PopSci as well. welcome to the stream. You are looking at a Falcon 9 at Slick 40, getting ready to launch 2 ComSats, O3b mPOWER 9 and 10 to medium Earth orbit. That's booster 1090-6 on the pad there, and it's going to be landing on the drone ship. Just read the instructions. So that's what we have on the table for today. Here's a question from Space News from MI. I think, what is MI? Is that Missouri? They're asking, how many flights do you think until the 1067 gets retired? Ooh, that's tough. Ryan, do you have any thoughts?
30 is a nice round number, but again, it really depends what SpaceX wants to do with it, you know, because we have seen time and time again how fleet leaders have been thrown into the drink intentionally and unintentionally, simply because the SpaceX no longer wants to keep refurbishing that booster, I would guess, or they wanted to collect a certain type of data with certain materials that have flown a certain number of times. B1067, it is the fleet leader by a significant margin at this point. I think it's now 3 flights ahead of the second place most number of flights, which would be 26 flights for the B1070. Yeah, 63 and 71 are both on 26 flights. So it wouldn't be that long until another booster would catch up to that point, so I don't really want SpaceX to throw it away, but 30 is a round number. That's all I'm going to say. So if it gets to 30 and SpaceX is like, that's enough, I wouldn't be too surprised. But if they can get it into the high 30s, that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, pretty sweet. That's one way to put it, for sure. It would be really cool. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with 1067. However, today, booster 1090 is on its 6th flight. It's like a little baby booster by comparison. Let's see. Stuart, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships, and we appreciate that a lot. Misty wants to know, how much time does it usually take? This is so an Alex question. We're in trouble. How much time does it usually take a booster to do a flight when it just got static fired at McGregor?
That's a brilliant question that I'm going to attempt to stall enough so we can get some proper information fed to us. But it would be a little while, a few weeks at minimum. Because
Alex is saying 35 to 40 days, anywhere from months to just 35 to 40 days. I feel like there was a Falcon Heavy side booster that was static fired and then just like sat around forever. I could be misremembering. But yeah, it varies, but it's not necessarily a long time. Oh, I'm right. Alex is saying that was B1072. Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, that one's only flown once so far, which was over a year ago, and it's sitting around once again. So, you know, it all depends on the cadence and what boosters SpaceX needs to fly when. That example, in particular, a Falcon Heavy sidecar, and Falcon Heavy doesn't fly that often. Falcon Heavy hasn't flown in a while, and we don't expect it to fly for a little while yet. So yeah, we're in another Falcon Heavy lull, unfortunately, as those super heavy payloads are nowhere to be seen for the time being.
It's so weird how some boosters just get, you know, absolutely flown nonstop, and some boosters just sit around. Oh, I do believe we have an update. New T0 of 5:27, so a 5-minute slip. That's just 5 minutes. That's fine. That's fine.
So they're coming up again on that T-minus 38-minute launch director go for propellant load time. I feel like the 5-minute slip is a lot more positive than a 10-minute slip, honestly.
I would agree. Oh, look, is that a tweet there? Yep, liftoff is targeted for 5:27 Eastern Time with additional opportunities available until 7:19 p.m. Eastern Time. If needed, a backup opportunity is available Tuesday. Cool. All right, SpaceX continuing to find a gap in the weather. D, are you still hearing, like, thunder in the distance? Oh, Florida.
Well, I have had my headphones on, so I haven't been hearing it nearly as much. Looking behind me, there are actually some gorgeous clouds back there. I want to get a photo of that. But I haven't heard it nearly so much, and it has gotten a lot brighter. And I think the worst small cells have dissipated a little bit. That's not to say that it can't change, but to my rather untrained eye, I would say that it is improving.
That's positive. That's trending positive. I'm trying to be optimistic. It's not in my nature, but I'm trying. Oh goodness. Well, 37 minutes and change to go. It's getting brighter. Less lightning and thunder in the distance. I'm hopeful. Titan 3C, thank you for the super chat. They're asking, what is your favorite rocket to ever launch out of Slick 40? It's got to be me. It's me. I mean, yeah, it's Titan 3C. Although I don't think I ever got to see one. I feel like I would remember that. Do you have a favorite Slick 40 rocket, Ryan?
I mean, the Titan family was pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna deny that, because I just think the triple core, if your solids are the same diameter as your liquids, that's a pretty cool rocket. I'm just gonna say that. That's a pretty beefy solid you've got right there.
Agreed. Agreed.
I for one am favourable to that triple core configuration. The Falcon Heavy, Delta IV Heavy, Titan.
I know it'll never happen, but I would love it for Starship. I know it will never happen, but it would go. So it would be the coolest thing ever.
100%, I agree with that, and I do enjoy that rocket configuration. But saying that, Titan was a little bit before my time, and Falcon 9 has kind of revolutionized the launch industry, so I'm going to have to say Falcon 9 on this occasion.
Surprise, surprise. Ryan says Falcon 9. Let's see. I mean, Titan 4 and Titan 3 are... you can't really... It's like, how do you even pick between Falcon 9, Titan 3, and Titan 4? How do you... Don't make me pick. They're all beautiful. Let's see. Misty asking how far the drone ship is off for medium Earth orbit. We answered that one shortly ago. The usual distance.
600 to 700 kilometers. We don't actually know because we're not told anymore, but that's roughly the range.
Got it. Ooh, do we have some photos from D?
Yeah, so when I turned around to talk about the weather, I was just getting to see some of the gorgeous layers of clouds back there. Of course, that is not what you necessarily want to see for a launch, but that is a long distance away. That is the exact opposite direction of the launch pad for me. So we've got the layers of clouds by the VAB in the distance there with the sun. Gorgeous. And I just thought that was, so beautiful.
Absolutely. The storm light is so dang beautiful. It's got to be my favorite lighting, perhaps even more so than like golden hour morning or sunset. A good storm light, and you get some nice layers of clouds. Really, absolutely beautiful. Obviously, like you said, not necessarily great for rocket launches or equipment or humans, but in this case, seems like things are playing nice, and that's really cool. You got some nice clouds going on behind you. Neat. Keep your questions coming, y'all. If you have any questions, you can at NASA Spaceflight in chat, and we'll see your questions pop up in some software we have running in the background. John is asking, are Falcon 9s trucked or flown to from Texas? They are driven. In fact, Falcon 9 was made to be the maximum size possible and also be road transportable, right, Ryan?
Yeah, its diameter is literally restricted by the tallest bridge between Hawthorne, McGregor, and Cape Canaveral. So that's the preferred method of transport. I'm not even sure if there would be an aircraft, suitable enough to carry a 3.5 meter diameter, nearly 50 odd meter tall booster. That would be quite a sizable transport.
It's one of the fun things you can occasionally see when you're driving on the right roadways, whether it's a second stage. Those are the most common to see if you're driving along, but you can just be on a public road and happen to see a Falcon 9.
Yeah, that is absolutely a thing. If you're driving on the right road at the right time, a Falcon 9 first or second stage can go by you. You never know what might pass you on I-10 if you're in the right spot. Also, if you're driving through Van Horn of Blue Origin fame, you may not notice, but you're going to be driving under a bridge that a Falcon 9 first stage hit at one point.
Keep a close eye out if you happen to know you're passing under that bridge. I would be interested in hearing if the mark is still there.
Oh, that was good times. Dee and I did a road trip stream for members a while back, and that was a fun catch. We're like, wait a minute, is that the bridge? That's the bridge. So we are under 38 minutes now, unless we get a new T0. Any indications that we're in prop load? Can we see any? I mean, I guess it'd be a little bit till we could see some frost, given the shrubberies, right?
It would be a little bit.
Got it. Well, hopefully.
I'm sat here with my fingers crossed and staring at the preview that we have.
SpaceX, I believe, has just tweeted they've beaten our visual sign here saying that propellant load is underway for today's mission.
Superb. So they're into prop load. That means kerosene and liquid oxygen are flowing into this vehicle, and because of the way that Falcon 9 works with its super chilled propellants, that kind of locks in the T0. So we know it's not going to change from this point. Hopefully, fingers crossed, at least not for today's attempt. So there you go. And there's the tweet from SpaceX.
I think someone from SpaceX Communications might be listening to the stream, because that tweet was definitely timed to Jack asking the question, do we think they're actually going to launch at this T0? And thank you, SpaceX, for giving us information. Usually we have to do visual confirmation first, and they only tell us when they're starting the live stream or something. But thank you very much, SpaceX. We very much appreciate it.
Yeah, sometimes it's sitting out in the dunes for 5 hours waiting for a thing to get lifted, and you just wait forever. Sometimes you just will it. You will the knowledge into being by saying it live on air. Who knew? That's cool, though. We know that they're into prop load, and so we will see some venting, and we will see this rocket start to come alive as we get closer and closer to T0, 30 minutes from now. John, thank you for the super chat and the gifted Red Team membership as well. David Miller and Space Worm for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Space Rail Fan, I feel like we would be friends. I feel like there's a high crossover between space fans and rail fans. But Space Rail Fan is asking, have they ever driven a Falcon 9 from Vandenberg to the Cape? Yes. And they've done the reverse, driven a Falcon 9 from the Cape to Vandenberg. I think it's rarer. But every now and then, yeah, you will get a booster that'll, this booster's launched from all 3 Falcon 9 launch sites, or this was an East Coast booster and now it's a West Coast booster. That sort of thing does happen. Jacob is asking, do they have audio on Just Read the Instructions? I know they have mics on a shortfall of Gravitas, right, Ryan? Do we know if they have mics on JRTI?
Oh my goodness. I don't believe so, or at least if they do, we haven't heard them before. A shortfall of Gravitas is it's their newest drone chip, and by newest I mean it's 3 years old at this point. So it has some upgrades that Just Read the Instructions does not have. But then again, just because it has the microphones, SpaceX only uses them like half the time, so it's kind of a hit or miss sometimes. They don't always use them. Maybe because it's some sort of connection, or I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, go figure. Good question, though. Saad is asking, what's your favorite rocket facility tour you've done? Oh, that's like asking us to pick our favorite kid. I know it's recency bias, but man, seeing Northrop's facilities, that was also kind of like a holy grail for me. I've wanted to see their like the propellant mixing and the casting pits and all that stuff for a really long time. So I don't know. I can't really pick a
Wait, you
favorite.
actually got to see them like stir it all together?
No. So they took us to the areas where they do the stirring, and they took us to like the area where they would do the pours, and like the mixing and all that. But there was no active. There was nothing active at the time. That would be dangerous, Ryan.
Really?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite rocket facility tour you've done?
Yes.
Tell me more.
I'll leave it at that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say one of my favorites that NSF has done is our recent tour of VAST that you did with DOS, because it is fantastic. So I will plug it if you're not going to. Everybody should check that out if they haven't already.
I will say I was slightly distracted through the question being asked as someone else happened to show up here if we go to the ultra-wide camera here.
Oh, hey, is that Max?
It sure is.
He
I
literally
recognize that-
heard from across the country our discussion of stubby nozzles at the start of the stream, and he decided to make his way all the way back to the Space Coast, purely based on that discussion.
That's slightly terrifying. I will be a little bit more careful about what I say about the stubby nozzle in the future. I don't want to manifest Max when I least expect it. Like, he'll pop out of a closet somewhere and be like, "What'd you say?" Good deal. Let's see. Clock is continuing to tick down. 26 minutes to go. We did get that tweet from SpaceX that they are into prop load, so things are getting active here. We should see the vehicle get nice and venty shortly, indicating that things are progressing just as we
I think
hope.
there's even a little layer of frost we can see starting to build on the booster there. It's like a little light grey patch beneath the dark grey patch, if you can kind of see. There's a bit of a line starting to form, so...
Sort of right where
is
that
a
little
visual...
twiggy bit is, like just
Yeah,
flat.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
So visual confirmation alongside SpaceX's written confirmation.
Excellent. Quartz is asking, where and how are boosters stored? Ooh.
Where,
I mean,
when, and why is I'll follow up with. There are various means. I'll cover the ones at the Space Coast for now because that's probably the intent of the question there. So when the boosters arrive, either from McGregor, or they're coming off a drone ship, or they're coming in from the landing zone, SpaceX has two huge hangars at their Roberts Row facility, which you would have seen if you saw our flyover on when was it, last Wednesday. However, the two big hangars they have there is Hangar X and Hangar X2. Why they didn't rename the original to Hangar X1, I don't know, but that's a question for SpaceX. So inside of those two hangars are big lanes where they can store boosters. They even temporarily keep them outside sometimes. If I don't know if that's because they're running out of space or because they just haven't rolled it into Hangar X yet. But Hangar X is the place where they are kept for refurb and things like that. And then they have the horizontal integration facilities at the pads themselves. So they will roll the boosters out to the pad. They'll roll it to that hangar at the end of the ramp, and that is where the boosters will be integrated with all of the things. The other bits of the rocket. We often see photos inside of there whenever Dragon plugin is getting integrated onto the vehicle. And then after that, that's obviously where they get rolled out by rail with the sort of like the tug pulling it up the ramp, and then on the transporter erector, and then obviously they go vertical at the pad.
Awesome. It's got to be wild when you get to the point where you have so many boosters. It's like, where do we put all these? We need more space to put all these. And they're rapidly getting there in Starbase, too. Hopefully the Gigabase solves that. Keep your questions coming, y'all. These are some good ones. Hey, look, it's a shortfall of gravitas. We were talking about that just a few moments ago. Is it coming or going, Ryan?
It looks like it's going, or is it coming? Oh, it's leaving. It's leaving. That's another thing that heard us talking about it. First was Max with the stubby nozzles. Now we've got a shortfall of gravitas on the move.
Max is just gonna like show up surfing on a shortfall of gravitas if you.
Yeah, he's going to show up on Fleet Cam in 5 minutes.
Terrifying. Good deal. Yeah, SpaceX is I guess moving ASOG out for what, Starlink 10-26 coming up. So not wasting any time. They got to keep these things constantly moving. It's like at some point you'd think maybe they'd have another drone ship on both coasts, but the amount of downtime each drone ship sees is feels like essentially zero. And in that vein, we had a question here. Oh gosh, did I lose it? I think I lost it.
Deary me.
They were asking if the recent pause in launches out of Florida was due to drone ship maintenance. It was a question from Bruce, I think. Yeah, here we go. No, Brian. Question from Brian Moore. Was the recent brief pause in launches from the Cape related to any drone ship maintenance? I don't think so. Was it?
I don't think it was led by any drone ship maintenance. I believe the biggest cause in that would have been the 4th of July holiday, maybe SpaceX just slowing things down a little bit, giving some people some time off. But if there was any maintenance that they did because of that downtime, I mean, sure, if SpaceX has an extra couple days, they're going to, go in and fix anything that needs fixing, of course. But I don't think that was led by any maintenance. They just might have done some maintenance because they had the opportunity to, because of the holiday.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dee, do we still have you?
You do indeed.
We got a question here for you. It's a real important one. David's asking, what are the 4 towers that we can see in this shot?
Ooh, that's a great question that we never get. So those 4 towers.
Yeah, the specific
answer.
The specific question was, what are the 4 towers LMAO? Just so you know the exact context of the question.
So that's an NSF merch item made real. That's what those are. Those definitely aren't to support the wires that function as the lightning protection system to prevent lightning from hitting the rocket on the pad.
I didn't expect the clever twist. Good deal. Yeah, if you actually don't know in earnest and you're not asking in jest, they're lightning towers. The lightning doesn't hit the tower. It hits a wire. But what you can also see right now, besides those towers, is the famed T-minus 20-minute vent. Ryan, what's going on with that vent, and why is it a good thing?
It's a good thing because it means we're clearing out the lines. We're getting ready for the final bits of prop load here on the second stage. So essentially, the reason that SpaceX is generating clouds at Slick 40 is because by venting out of the lines, you clear the lines, make sure there's nothing bad in there, make sure there's nothing untoward that are in those lines that they use to feed the propellant.
Nothing, say, combustible.
Exactly. So we use something inert, something that isn't going to combust inside of our ground support equipment, and that means we'll push out all of the bad things out of the pipes, essentially in the most layman term possible, and that can then be safely used to run the propellants up into the destination for where the propellants are going to go, such as, for example, in 3 minutes' time, liquid oxygen to the second stage. Oxygen, famously very combustible with a lot of things, so you want those lines to be as free of things to combust with as possible.
Is oxygen combustible, or does it just allow things to be combustible because it's an oxidizer?
Now we're getting into the pedantics of things.
Alex is typing. Let's see. More questions. Let's keep things rolling as the clock continues to tick down. 18 and a half minutes to go. Brian is asking, when they transport Super Heavy to the Cape, would they do it horizontally or vertically? Believe it or not, I do believe it's going to happen horizontally on a barge, which is going to be wild.
Horizontally across the Gulf, through Port Canaveral, up to the Turn Basin, Super Heavy. I mean, it's 9 meters wide and 70 meters long. That's going to be quite the sight. And, you know, I wouldn't say transporting it vertically would be impossible. However, it would act like a pretty big sail, and I don't think whatever barge it would be on would be able to fight the immense forces of wind blowing against a Super Heavy booster.
Yeah, transporting it vertically would be really neat, though. But transporting it at all, transporting a Starship or Super Heavy booster, not on an SPMT, not vertically, is wild. Like, I can't imagine they can break over a vehicle, Starship or Super Heavy, horizontal from vertical without some sort of giant fixture. Or maybe they'll just SpaceX it and do it with like 2 cranes and a little bit of welded metal. I don't know, but either way, that is going to be a treat when we eventually get there, when 39A is ready to receive its first vehicles.
I'd assume with the booster, they might be able to do something with the catch pins. I'm not sure about the aft end because you've got the engines there, and I doubt you'd want to hook onto your engines in order to flip it over, but I'm sure they could figure something out.
My guess is they would use existing... We're getting into the weeds here, sorry, but my guess is that they would use existing hardware where possible. So like you said, they would use the catch pins if they could, and I assume the stabilizer attach points, you know, like where the OLM stabilizer pins come up and grab the booster when it's about to be set down. If those could be strengthened to the point where... Anyway, that's going to be fascinating. If you want to know more about what's going on at Starbase, you know where to get Starbase info, our socials, and Starbase Live, and Starbase Update as well. So,
speaking of Starbase Update, I'm now going to upload the latest one to Alex so he can watch it.
Nice. I'm glad that you rendering Starbase Update during the stream did not interfere with your ability to do this stream. Good job multitasking. You can see Falcon 9 continuing to get frosty there, and a whole lot of condensation was just around the vehicle as part of that T-minus 20-minute vent goodness. And now the vehicle will continue getting fueled up, and we'll continue answering your questions. Sean is asking predictions for when this first Starship launches from the Cape. I'm going to go 2026. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say 2026 as well. If this was 2 months ago, I probably would have said 2025, just because that's what SpaceX said. But, you know, that was a bit ballsy from SpaceX to begin with, you know. 2026 does seem like the realistic safe option at this point, because if you watched our latest Space Coast update, which was last week, as I've already said on this stream, the development of both the orbital launch mount and the flame trench and the ground support equipment at 39A is kind of around where the second pad at Starbase was about 6 months ago. And if you think that pad is probably not going to see a launch until the end of this year, I have my strong doubts that 39A would be able to support a launch this year, considering it's about 6 months behind a pad that isn't even ready yet.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair assessment. But I feel like 2026 is a lock. I don't know. D, what do you think?
I think 2026 is a pretty safe bet at this point. I think trying to say the Starship would launch here 2025, definitely an optimistic take. But Starship from the Cape, I would say I feel reasonably confident in a 2026 launch. I'd even say first half, maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, bold. I mean, that would be impressive. I mean, SpaceX is going to need to get as many Starship pads online as fast as possible in order to fulfill their Artemis contract and get people to Mars and get anything to Mars in the next transfer window. So, it makes sense they're not really wasting any time. I'm so excited for a Starship launch out of 39A. Dia, I'm sure you and Max are as well. Like, holy cow. It's going to be amazing.
It is going to be a sight to behold. It's going to be something like the Space Coast hasn't seen in many years. I feel like, I mean, it'll be unlike they've seen ever in some ways. And I think Titusville, Cocoa, this whole area will be in for perhaps a slight shock, because I know a lot of locals are used to rocket launches at this point. They might get awakened by the rumble of a Falcon 9 at 3 a.m. and maybe get a little bit annoyed, or maybe they're interested, and that's awesome when they are. But once Starship starts flying, the sonic booms and the sound from Starship is unlike any other. Perhaps SLS is like the closest we've seen here. Like, but
shuttle landing would come to mind.
The shuttle landing,
sure.
yeah. But it will be a large arrival to the Space Coast.
I am curious how that's going to play out. We even have a question here from Bruce Gordon asking, how do you think Space Coast residents will react to the sound of repeated Starship launches? I feel like people on the Space Coast are generally amenable to rocket launches, but I don't live there like you do, D, so I'm not sure. Hopefully they will be, because it's definitely going to be loud.
For the most part, people understand it. I'd say the interest in the space industry as a whole is higher here than if you just picked a random spot, but also the annoyances are also felt here, unlike other locations, whether that be the occasional traffic for people who are trying to get home because a payload's going through the area, or whether that's just getting woken up at random hours. So there's back and forth, but for the most part, people here are very supportive of the space industry. It is a major, major industry here, whether it's directly working on rockets, working for NASA, the visitor center, tourism. Like, there's a lot of that stuff, and it's a huge, huge industry that really feels like it is growing quickly again. A few years ago, it didn't feel like it was growing anywhere near as fast as it is now.
That's really great to hear. That's great to hear. Ryan, we haven't really talked about the payload too much on today's launch. The O3b mPOWER 9 and 10 satellites. You want to give us a little bit of a rundown on what's getting launched into space today?
Yeah, so inside those payload fairings are 2 internet satellites, not made by SpaceX. Can you believe it? No, I can't either. SpaceX has done this many times before, including the Kuiper Falcon launch last week. We made a video on that. Surprise, surprise. Anyways, these 2 satellites are communication satellites which are being operated by SES. They are a Luxembourgish satellite operator. You've probably heard of them before. They are a huge player in the communications satellite game. This particular constellation is the O3b mPOWER constellation. It is a low latency, high throughput, internet broadband connectivity constellation. But instead of being in geosynchronous orbit, geostationary orbit, like some of the traditional ones, or low Earth orbit, like Starlink and Kuiper, it's in medium Earth orbit. So these satellites are going to approximately 8,000 kilometers in altitude, and they're going to be joining the ones that have already been launched. Now, you may have noticed that I said that SES were the operator of these satellites. That's because they didn't build them. They contracted the manufacturing of these satellites to Boeing, who have built many satellites in the past. These satellites in particular are using Boeing's BSS-702X communications satellite bus.
Good deal. I love the 2 internet satellites not made by SpaceX. Good stuff. I want to thank a couple more people here. Titan3C, thank you so much. They say, Jack, this is the greatest question I have ever asked. Boeing box or Ares 1? I'm taking the box, they say. You know, I'm going
One
Ares
of them
1.
actually launched. One of them won't launch because it's a structural test article. There
Because
you go.
it's
End of
because it's a
discussion.
box. Yeah, definitely Ares 1 in that case. Holy cannoli! Alex Pardue with another $200 super chat. They say, I live in Cocoa. I'm so excited for Starship. Alex, thank you. There are no words that are adequate to express thanks for that incredible amount of support. Suffice to say, we are all so excited for Starship from the Cape. It's going to be a big deal, and the fact that you're coming out with that amount of support, the fact that everyone is so excited for it, clearly, oh man, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And Dee, I don't want to speak for you. I'm sure you and Max and everybody that is out there for the first several Starship launches out of the Cape, you're going to be pulling out all those stops, right? No stops.
Oh yeah, the same way it's been for us for every Starship launch out in Texas, but as many cameras as we can set up, as many angles, as much slow motion, as many stills cameras. We will be trying to get the absolute best content for that mission. It will be, I mean, historic. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait. And
Absolutely.
thank you for the support.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you once again, Alex. That's truly exceptional. We appreciate you. Hey, Dee, it's getting pretty close to T0 here, about 7.5 minutes to go. Should I let you go do camera things? Speaking of camera things.
Yeah, it's about time I start to get things ready, and especially with everything being bagged up, I need to double check a couple extra things. So I will see you all on the other side of this launch.
Excellent. Good shooting, and we'll see you on the other side. Let's see. Ryan, Saad is asking, how many rockets has Just Read the Instructions caught? That is the drone ship for today's launch. It is going to be JRTI way out there. Due east. It's a due east trajectory in case you missed that at the top of the show. The rocket is not going north or south, straight east, which is kind of unusual. But Ryan, do you have a number for us, or do you know off the top of your head, or perhaps have seen in the notes how many rockets JRTI has caught?
I don't know off the top of my head. However, I am being very cheeky. I'm very quickly just looking at a list of Falcon 9 launches and doing Control F for JRTI and seeing how many come up. And
129 attempts, 128th landing on Just Read the Instructions.
There you go. So the number I got was 131. So there's clearly 2 extra JRTIs somewhere in the web page.
Oh, that means you and Alex get to have a spreadsheet fight. Watch out, everybody. Sparks are going to fly. But not before O3b
Alex is telling me
mPOWER.
I had the original. Alex is telling me I had the original JRTI in my list as well. There you go. That makes sense. Because of course there was 2. There was the original, which then got destroyed, so they built a new one.
That is true. This is Just Read the Instructions number 2. The original was Marmac 303. I think Just Read the Instructions 2 is Marmac 304. Oh, sorry. No, the original was Marmac 300. Anyway, they're all Marmac barges. You can Google it. We're getting closer to launch. 5 minutes to go. My adrenaline's pumping. Are you excited, Ryan?
More internet satellites. Who doesn't love some internet satellites? Everyone's launching internet satellites. All the cool kids are launching internet satellites.
I have an internet satellite constellation. It's also a meme coin and NFT. Would you like to invest?
We saw Biosat-1 getting prepared for launch in the anechoic chamber the other week, didn't we?
Unfortunately, it might have failed acoustic testing. We'll see. We'll see what happens. 4.5 minutes to go. Where are we at timeline-wise, Ryan? Things are getting close to being full on the rocket, right?
Yeah, we're getting close to the pointy end of the count here. So over the last couple of minutes, the engine chill has begun on the Falcon 9. That's basically where SpaceX starts to flow some nice cool liquids through the engines to make sure that they are in the correct temperature range for launch, because if you had some really, Florida air temperature engines and then you decided to put cryogenic propellants into them and then they
Don't want to do that.
Thermal shock is not your friend. You don't really want to be going through that. So you want to get the engines into a proper thermal regime that they need to be in to accept the propellants for flight. And then over the next few minutes, we're going to see some things such as the strong back retract, which I believe is now starting or is just about to start. We've seen the clamps under the fairing. Those appear to have extended at this point, and the strong back should be moving back, which I think it is. Potentially. My preview is quite small. Either it is moving back or it has moved back. That will then swing back at the time of launch. It does appear to have creaked back there ever so slightly already. As we approach about 1 minute to go, two things will happen. The prop tank will begin to pressurize to its flight pressure, make sure that it's not going to crumple under the pressure, and the onboard flight computer will also begin the final pre-launch checks. And then a few seconds after that, we'll have the launch director from SpaceX. They'll verify that everything is go for launch. And then a few seconds, 3-ish seconds prior to liftoff, the engines will start to ignite, all 9 Merlin 1D engines on that first stage. And then, of course, when the clock says 0, the vehicle's released and it's off and away.
Off and away indeed. Hopefully in just about 2 minutes. Alex saying in our back channel that stage 1 LOX load is complete. And in just a few moments here, we should see another large vent from the strong back there, indicating that they are doing that same thing they did around 20 minutes. They're clearing out the lines, but this time, instead of in preparation for fueling the second stage, it's going to be in preparation for launch, because you don't want anything combustible remaining in your ground support equipment when there's a rocket flying past it. All right, 2 minutes to go. Again, the booster for today's mission is 1090-6. It's going to be landing downrange on Just Read the Instructions, and it's going to be 2 ComSats launching today into medium Earth orbit, not low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, going straight east. I'm curious, like we always say, if you're out there watching these launches, if you get any shots of it, tag us. We want to see it. Tag us on the socials, whichever social network you're on. It'd be really cool. I'm curious if you have seen other Falcon 9 launches, what our viewers' experience of this launch is like, given that it's not going south, it's not a southern polar corridor launch, it's not a northeastern trajectory launch, it is going straight east. So I'm curious if that's very different of an experience for y'all viewing out there. It certainly is on the west coast when launches go straight west versus south. So, and there you can see that gas closeout completing there on the TE, and we're at about a minute to go where the Falcon 9's internal computer will take control. And if it doesn't see if it sees anything it doesn't like, it's not going to space today. But hopefully it sees only things it likes. "45 seconds to go. And again, as a quick reminder, Slick 40 launches do often feature a squealing sound from the vehicle assembly building. Sometimes it's audible, sometimes it's not. It really is dependent on conditions. So listen in close for that. We might get a VAB squeal.
You'd think at this point the VAB would be used to all the launches, but apparently not.
You know, it's just really supportive. It's just cheering on the rockets as they're on their way to space. 10 seconds to go. Keep your eye on the base of the vehicle to see ignition. Just a few seconds.
And unfortunately, it doesn't look like that is going to take place because a hold has been called. And Falcon 9 is very much not lifting off.
Well, dang. That is not great. But what's the old adage? You'd rather be on the ground wishing you were in space than in space wishing you were on the ground. Dang it! Luckily, there is a backup window tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat place. So stay tuned for that as well. I do want to just take a moment. D, are you there? Or are you doing camera things?
Different mic now. I'm on AirPods. What's up? Yeah, I'm here.
You sound fine, although I do hear a little bit of an echo. That might be back end. Either way, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for if that was my fault. but I don't know. What's the vibe out there? I know it's never fun when the rocket doesn't go to space.
Well, I will say not everyone out here has fully realized that it is a scrub quite yet. The word is sort of starting to spread now, but people are still watching anxiously. Um, you know, they were trying to thread the needles today. I don't know the reason for the hold. Like, to my own visual eyes, it appears pretty good, but we will, of course, stay tuned to learn the reason and to see the next opportunity.
Yep, there you go. Well, dang it. John Coachy, Mr. Coffee, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership, even though the rocket didn't go to space. And John Loletta? I'm sorry, I'm butchering names again. Thank you for becoming a Padrat member. And S. Stevens, holy cow, $49.99. Thank you so much. They say thank y'all for y'all's dedication. I mean, it's like a two-way street, right? Y'all are dedicated and come out and watch our streams, whether it's a crazy late night Starlink or whether it's a middle of the day O3b mPOWER 9 and 10. The fact that you guys come out and watch our streams means that we can keep doing this stuff. So it's a two-way street of dedication. Thank you so much, S. Stevens. We'll keep doing what we do because we love doing what we do. It's our favorite thing to do. That's why we do it so much. But if you wanna, I mean, it means the world to us if you come out and support us in these ways. And if you want to commemorate the fact that this rocket has scrubbed, then guess what? You can support us in another way with Scrub merch. That's right. Why would you go
Look at that! Who's on the homepage? That's a beautiful advert right there. I don't think anyone cares about the Scrub merch, Jay. I think we should go back to the homepage and see that beautiful banner there for the summer collection.
No, this shirt is great. It says I watched a whole stream and all I got was a Falcon 9 Scrub. It's great. Look at that. It's hilarious. And like, if somebody gets that, if you're wearing that shirt and somebody's like, haha, then you're immediately friends. Like, that's the law of the universe. That's how it works. They already passed the friend test. So yeah, you can see there is a banner. The secret shop is open because the launch scrubbed. So these will be available for, looks like, what does that say? 23 hours, 13 minutes, and counting. If you want a scrub shirt, because the rocket scrubbed, the secret shop is now open, and now is your chance to get one.
And I can confirm that the secret shop will not scrub. It will stay open for the next 23 hours.
There you go. It really is like a cool way that you can support what we do and get something cool in return. Like, the merch store is awesome for that. And there's a lot of cool stuff in there in addition to the secret shop that is now open. Of course, there's the metal prints and the summer wear that I was definitely not shirtless wearing in the banner photo. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we should go and look at the banner photo again.
No,
Jay,
I think we're good. No, I think we're good.
Look at this. Oh, this is. Well, look at this beautiful summer collection.
The Hawaiian shirts, because they are made in the U.S. They're a little bit pricey, but they're made in the U.S. We wanted to give you guys a good product, and they have cool.
They're proper Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, like it's actually a proper Hawaiian shirt, and they have cool little Easter eggs on them, like the dolphins. Remember when the dolphins were around the Dragon capsule when it landed? What was that? Was that Shrew 9? Which launch was that?
Stop
landing,
calling it Shrew 9.
It's Shrew 9, Ryan. I didn't make it up. That's what that is.
No.
There's also women's wear, I believe, as well. If Jay keeps scrolling down, which is really cool. It's summer. It's hot. If you want a swimsuit for you or a significant other or someone in your life, go for it. Merch exists. It's really extremely helpful to helping us do what we do.
Can we also have an apron?
We do have an apron, and I've been wearing it in order to not ruin my other clothes when I make bacon, and the bacon is splattering everywhere. Good deal. The apron, I can actually, I can vouch for all the merch, but I can specifically vouch for the apron in the last 4 days. I was wearing it while I was making burgers. It worked out great. Good stuff. Oh, look, John already grabbed something from the store. Looks like they got the scrub shirt. And they said, scrub merch. Nice. Thank you, John. Seriously, thank you so much. It's absolutely key to helping us do what we do. James Meyerkoff in chat says, when NSF Speedo? James, quiet. They will hear you.
That would make a beautiful banner on the homepage. Just saying.
They send me the things to wear in the... no, that nobody wants that.
He's out here acting like he doesn't have any free will. He does have free will. He decided to do that photo shoot, which is why we put it on the homepage.
What? No. That was... I didn't know that there was a camera there. I just stood picturesquely in front of my camera accidentally when it took photos.
Just happened to be in front of the Starship launch pad.
Yeah. It's like, oops, didn't mean to. Looks like there was a crowd out for the launch. Hopefully everyone's still enjoying their beach day. And then they got to see a rocket barge in the meantime anyway.
ASOG is like, screw this, I'm going out to sea. Screw you, Falcon 9, for scrubbing.
I'm going out. Pretty cool. I mean, not a bad consolation prize, right?
What about a constellation prize? Because, O3b mPOWER is a constellation. I'll see myself out.
Wow, you've successfully done an Alex and a Sawyer on today's stream. I commend you. Good job. Well, I think that will be it for today. D, thanks for rolling out and setting up the cameras and whatnot.
Of course. We knew the weather was iffy. We knew it was a coin toss. We will hopefully get to know more information here shortly. But till next time.
Indeed. Until next time. Ryan as well, thanks for being on, good buddy.
You're very welcome, Jack. You're very welcome, everybody. Fingers crossed this happens sometime soon. Although, even though SpaceX hasn't given us any official information and the weather for tomorrow isn't better. So, it's worse weather and SpaceX doesn't know what's happened. So, just wait and see. Just wait and see.
As always, in the rocket world, we will wait and see. Also operating today's stream was Jay Keegan. Jay, thank you for operating today's stream. I didn't forget you. I appreciate you. I also appreciate Honey2800 with a super chat suggesting Falcon 9 scrub tops and bottoms. The store team is listening. Amy grabbing a scrub shirt. Thank you so much. They say, my dad has driven across the state so many times to see one launch or another. They almost always get scrubbed. Thanks for making these shirts. I'm ordering one for him now. And Rupin saying, keeping up with the scrub merch. Here's to a launch tomorrow. Also getting the scrub shirt. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you again to Alex Perdue and Dimez for the crazy amounts of support. Y'all are the best. You can keep up with what's going on the NSF socials. You can see them up there. X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you are. That's where we are to get your space news. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. As soon as we know what's going on with this, we'll let you know via those very same socials. But until then, stay tuned.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Payload down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off.
It's orange!
R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage!
What is it?
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting with the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.